Welcome, everyone, to That Kind of Nerds podcast, a weekly show where we tell you what is going on in the nerdy world. I am CJ Mellon, joined today by Brian Thornton.
One half of the Bernstons. Sorry.
Fortunately, Josh is away on a family.
The other Bernston is out on a business trip right now. He couldn't make it. You just have me. I did bring some red wine over, though, if you guys want to enjoy some of that. You don't want me cooking. Josh is the one who does the casserole. He's really good at that. I would just burn the entire podcast down if it were me. Oh, and by the way, Josh is so feverishly working. After he made the casserole, he needed to rush right back out and talk to some investors, which, speaking of investors, you can actually invest in this podcast, That Kind of Nerd, through our Patreon. Go ahead, CJ.
That Kind of Nerd is sponsored only by you, the listeners. You can help support us by going to patreon.com/thatkindofnerd. If that's too confusing for you, just go to thatkindofnerd.com and there's a link right there. Thank you so much for all your support, and we're going to talk about that at the end of the episode as well. Mr. Thornton.
Mr. Mellon.
We talked a couple weeks ago about the DuckTales reboot coming to Disney
Woo-hoo.
XD. It is awesome. If you want to hear about it, you can go ahead and just find the woohoo episode that I'll have in the show notes. But the amazing casting list has just gotten better. It's another step. We got some new cast members added to the show, and I'm curious to hear what you think about it.
Did we now?
Yes, we did.
Why don't you read them off? Let's hear it. Let's do it.
Are you all right?
No, I'm not. Let's do it. Let's hear it. Who do we got?
So we also got the casting news for Donald Duck, the one and only, and it's done by the voice that's been doing it since 1986, Tony Anselmo. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. You're not going to look it up? You're not going to?
No. Anselmo sounds about right, and I mean, yeah, that's obviously perfect. Guy's been doing it forever. I don't think he's ever stopped doing it. I think he does it for like Mickey Mouse Club and all of that crap.
If you are
pretty sure he does it on the Kingdom Hearts game too.
I think you're right. And the other person that we got cast was Gyro Gearloose, who is like Scrooge's inventor, like his resident inventor.
Was that in the original show?
I honestly don't know. I can't remember.
I don't remember Gyro Gearloose.
But hey, it's there, and it's everyone's favorite TV Dean, Jim Rash, ladies and gentlemen, is cast.
Oh,
and then
Happy Halloween. That's great.
Goldie Old Guilt, which is Scrooge's love interest, by the wonderful Allison Janney, CJ Craig from The West Wing.
Okay, there we go. Got her.
Wow.
Know who she is now. That's awesome.
There's some other castings in there, but those are like the big.
So the Doctor and CJ are gonna kind of do a little thing.
Yeah, they're gonna have a little. They're gonna have a little.
The Doctor's gonna dance a little bit in the press conference.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also
good for them.
There's also other people that are going to be coming into play. Paul F. Tompkins, if you know him, he's a great comedian. He's going to come in. He's going to play one of the rivals to Donald Duck. There's going to be a lot of fantastic things coming out of here.
Donald Duck's only rival is his anger issues.
They have it as Gladstone Gander.
That name sounds familiar. I think that's from the original.
Gladstone Gander is going to be Paul F. Tompkins. There's more in it. I would definitely check out the show notes. But man, I mean, with a name like Disney, right? I mean, we were all expecting okay casting for a kid's show on Disney XD. But they're pulling out all the stops, man. They've got some fantastic people on this cast.
This is a pretty solid cast. But honestly, I mean,
this is only big news to adults. Kids won't give a crap about it.
Let's be real. I love DuckTales.
Woo.
I am only excited about this show coming back because I'm hoping Darkwing Duck comes back because of it. How great would that be?
Well, listen, with all the Emmy winners and all the people who have won tons of awards, the cast list is top notch.
I just want to see the terror that flaps in the night again.
That's
all I want.
It's probably
I want the kernel of popcorn that's constantly getting stuck in my teeth.
But it's probably going to happen, man. It's really good.
That'd be awesome.
This DuckTales show coming to Disney XD this summer is can't come soon enough. I'm so excited for it. Get a whole new generation hooked on the family.
Hopefully. We can only hope.
Come on.
More importantly, I need to go back and buy all the old seasons.
If the same group of kids are watching Girl Meets World, they'll watch DuckTales.
Girl Meets World just got canceled.
Oh, yes, it did.
I watched. Not a very good argument.
No, but it was on for 3 seasons. And if they'll watch
Okay.
that for 3 seasons, they'll watch DuckTales till they're old and they have kids.
I feel like the people who were watching Girls Meets World were the people that were our age, and I think that's the same trap you could fall into this one. It's like everybody's going to be watching it is our age and above because we grew up on DuckTales.
Yeah, but we had the power to buy things, which means advertisers like that.
do have the power of bad things.
We do. We had the money to buy things.
But they're not advertising for iPads and iPhones.
listen,
they're advertising. They're advertising for the Super Soaker Triple XL.
Club Penguin. Club Penguin.
Don't knock Club Penguin. That game is the game's great. It's a lot of fun.
All right, we also have some movies, and you know what? I've made this a lot easier. I have been thinking about the times that we've done the blockbuster and the times that we talk about trailers that come out, and I wanted to get a nice, easy way to consolidate them for you. So I made a playlist on our YouTube channel, and we also have it on our website. So you can just go to youtube.com/thatkindofnerd, catch up on some old episodes of That Kind of Nerd if you're new to it, but also see our trailers that we're talking about for every episode. So I made a playlist together, and this.
Wow, CJ, that's really convenient.
I
Tell me more.
I aim for convenience. If you're a member of Patreon, you get access early. I'm just saying. There is this awesome trailer that's on there about the Manhunt for the Unabomber. It's got Sam Worthington in it. It's got a fantastic cast.
Paul Bettany's in this, right?
Right.
Paul Bettany's the Unabomber.
Yeah, you've got what's the lady from Glee?
Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch is in it. Like a really great cast. It looks so gripping. It's a mini-series event. It's on the Discovery Channel, out of all places.
No, I mean, no, that makes sense. Well, I mean, Discovery's own. I mean, they own History Channel, they own TLC, they own a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not surprised. I mean, talking about just the trailer alone, I watched it. It looks good. It looks interesting, especially if you were alive during that time and remember all of this stuff happening.
I don't, and I still found it very interesting.
Well, I mean, we were pretty young
really
when
young.
this was going on. Like, I remember the one bombing, and that's about it. But this is coming right off the heels of freaking the People versus O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, but that was
This is
HBO.
No, that wasn't HBO. That was FX, if I recall correctly. And the success of that and the Emmy-winning awards of that is like, hey, we can do a gritty miniseries about real-life events and get a lot of attention for it. I'm sure that's what this is in response to.
It was.
Tell me I was right.
I'm looking it up.
Am I right?
Hold on. It was
not
FX. It was
HBO.
FX.
Whoa!
Walking IMDb
Ed
strikes again.
Brian sinks it again. Didn't even watch that show.
The other trailer that we have on there is Lucky Logan, and dude, this trailer had really.
No.
You're passing on this?
No, I'm passing. I'm actually
Yeah.
hard passing on.
No way.
No desire. There's no reason I want to watch rednecks try to do Ocean 11. I'll just watch Ocean's 11.
But we're talking like Katie Holmes, Seth MacFarlane, Channing Tatum,
don't care.
Hilary Swank.
I hate Channing Tatum.
Daniel Craig as Joe Bang.
There is a bunch of actors in this movie that I do not
Okay,
care about unless
dude,
they are Bond or...
Daniel Craig's character is awesome, and I had to do a triple take when they first show him. I'm like, that's not
CJ.
That's not Daniel.
CJ, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is he James Bond in this?
No.
Then I don't care.
It's the first movie where Adam Driver feels in place as like a guy who doesn't do anything really much.
Oh yeah, another actor that I don't
like Adam Driver either, but he's
there. It's not that I don't like these people. I have liked things that they have been in. I just don't care. They are not names that when I hear, oh, Channing Tatum's got a new movie out, I gotta see that. Never.
This movie looks great. I don't know, dude. This looks fantastic.
State your case, sir, because I'm not sold.
So we're talking about adding. So the humor that happens in the Oceans movie is good, right? It's good humor when it happens.
Are you asking me a question or are you just making a statement?
I'm both. I want affirmation that you agree that the humor in the Oceans movie is good.
The humor in the Oceans movie is fantastic.
Okay, good.
Because of those three people.
Exactly. Channing Tatum is a hilarious guy. 21.
He's not George Clooney.
I agree he's not George Clooney. He's also a little fatter in this movie on purpose. This movie looks like it's got the perfect amount of whimsical. It's got the perfect amount of a heist movie, and also what could possibly go wrong? Like it's those three things intersecting that are going to make this a really compelling story. I think you're going to regret the hard pass, just pass, but you'll eventually see this movie, and I think you'll come around to my way of thinking that this looks great.
Highly doubt it.
You know, the tagline for this is, what has two brothers, three arms, and one incredible plan? Well, it's Lucky Logan. It's so good. It looks so funny. I can't believe you're against this movie.
I'm just, it doesn't interest me. And I don't want to fall asleep in the theater like Josh does. This does not, it looks like they took Ocean's 11, they wrapped it in some Trailer Park Boys like wrapping paper and said, here's your movie. And I love Ocean's 11. I don't give a shit about Trailer Park Boys. And I don't see the merit. If I wanted to see a heist movie, I would watch the Ocean's movies. Right. I love heist movies.
I know you do.
I love them. And I wanted to really like this trailer. And it's just got a cast that I don't care about. It's got this redneck humor that I don't find funny. I am just not bought in, and I just don't care. I don't care that it's probably Katie Holmes' first movie in 6 years since she had her kid. I don't care. I never liked her to begin with.
She's out from underneath Tom Cruise's thumb. You're not allowed to make movies.
No, she's out. She's out from under her rock, which is great. I'm very happy for her. I've never liked her as an actress to begin with, and as much as I enjoy Channing Tatum movies,
you're watching Dawson's Creek, and you're not like, come on. You're crying with Katie Holmes when she gets hurt by Pacey. You know you're doing it.
The fact that you know their names is a little disturbing, and you made fun of me for watching Pretty Little Liars.
All I know is Pacey and Dawson. That's it. There's the only two I know. I can't tell you her character name. Do you know her character's name?
No, that's fine. No, I'd have to IMDb it because I never watched Dawson's Creek.
Just saying. Cultural references.
I don't care about
when we talk about a movie that we don't care about hard passing and falling asleep in, and this is going to hurt Josh's feelings, it's Wind River. And the reason it's going to hurt Josh's feeling is one word, or two words really. One person, Jeremy Renner.
Is this the one with him and
Elizabeth Olsen? It's like...
Let
me give you the context of this. They're in Alaska.
I feel bad for not wanting to see this movie. Let me just put it that
They're in Alaska. A woman gets murdered. Jeremy Renner's like, she ain't died natural cause. She murdered. Elizabeth Olsen's like, oh, there's only like 4 people in this town. How are we gonna hunt down the killer? And then the woods in Alaska. It looks so boring. I don't care. I don't care why this woman.
It doesn't have to be boring. I've seen plenty of movies with this same type of concept that trying to solve a murder or catch a killer in this remote place where it's extremely hard to retain evidence and things like that. And that stuff can be gripping. This trailer did nothing.
Can you give me one of those movies? I can't think of a movie with that premise that I've actually retained the information on.
I to be honest with you, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I remember certain scenes of certain movies that were like that.
That right there kind of proves my point.
No, you're right. You're right. But my point is that storyline in general can be gripping. It can be done well. This trailer did not do it any justice. And as much as I love Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch, I'm probably not going to see this.
Yeah, it was 2 Avengers in one movie.
It's the Avengers in the mountains.
It's the 2 Avengers that no one really understands all the way in a movie together.
What's not to understand about Hawkeye?
Some people just don't like him. I don't know what to tell you.
He plays 18. He shoots 18. He gets a little bored sometimes. That's what he does.
All right. Here's the next trailer, which was American Assassin. And
oh yes, this looks good.
Okay,
I'm actually stoked for this.
Can you sell me on this movie? Because I'm on the fence.
Can I sell you on this movie?
Yes, please.
You know what this movie reminds me a lot of? It reminds me of Spy Game with Robert Redford and Brad Pitt.
Go on.
You have this kind of new, younger generation who is not familiar with the spy world, right?
Right.
Kind of thrust into this. He whatever reasoning he has for going into it is irrelevant. He needs to be trained by the older, more rugged guy who's been around the block a couple times, and that's Michael Keaton in this movie.
Wasn't there a movie with Al Pacino with the CIA? Was it
That's The Recruit?
The Recruit.
And
which was a ripoff of the Robert Redford movie.
No, it wasn't a ripoff. They're two completely different movies.
Okay.
The Recruit was very much like Al Pacino. Spoilers for The Recruit. That's been 10 years old. So if you didn't see
spoilers for
I'm
a super old movie.
But the Recruit was this like who do you trust type of thing, like, you know, throughout the training process of the CIA. Spy Game was about this mission that Robert Redford does at the end of his career, right? Spoilers for Spy Game if you haven't seen it, and it's also 15 years old. He does this mission at the end of this movie, and the movie is primarily told in flashbacks, right? Of him finding Brad Pitt, of him training Brad Pitt making the one mistake of falling in love with this girl and getting kidnapped and captured, and the American government won't go find him. So Robert Redford does this black ops mission to go ahead and do that.
This all sounds great, but I mean, that sounds like we have two movies that do something like this. Why? I mean, do we need a new modern telling of this?
Well, I mean, it's been over a decade since both those movies have been out, and I think Michael Keaton is completely I mean, this guy's back on his A game. He's no longer, he's no longer known as Batman and Mr. Mom. Like, this guy is back with a vengeance, and he's an awesome actor. I'm really excited to see what he does in this role. What's the younger guy's name? Dylan something?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
He was in the Maze Runner. He was in some other thing.
Oh, that's him?
I'm pretty sure that's the main kid from Maze Runner.
Oh, all right.
But I mean, it's going to be an interesting kind of story and relationship between the two of them. He's extremely driven. Here's how this is different from those other two movies. He's driven by something terrible that happened that is causing him to try and completely dismantle this terrorist cell.
Right.
And you know there's going to be a moment where he gets in over his head, and you know Michael Keaton's going to have to bail him out. And I'm interested to see that. Excuse me. But on top of that, you're going to have the whole CIA. I don't know who to trust. Do I trust you? Is this, the right guy? What's this guy's real motivations? Like, it's gonna be cool. I'm not super excited. But I think this is gonna be a really good movie, and I'm totally gonna invest my time into it.
All right, the last movie that
did I sway you at all?
I feel better. I'm not sold all the way, but I do feel like I'll probably give this a better chance than what I was. The final movie on this playlist is one that I squeed for. I thought this was awesome. It's called American Made. It's starring Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise is straggling the line of, like, I'm the guy the CIA...
Fresh after his success from The Mummy.
Listen, leave The Mummy... God, we'll leave The Mummy out of this for right now. But, it's a guy who gets hired to work for the CIA, the DEA, and the cartel, right? There's a guy who gets to live on both sides of the law, get paid for it in the middle, and the opening scene to this trailer is hilarious. He's flying this plane. He gets ordered to land down by a fighter jet, crashes down like the middle of a residential area, comes out of the plane covered in cocaine, sees his kid on a bike, goes, here's for the damage, hands him a wad of money, here's for your bike. And he takes his bike and he goes, you never seen me, and drives away. And then the rest of it kind of explains the whole story. It looks hilarious. It looks really gripping. Looks like there's going to be a lot of good action in there. And I cannot wait to see this movie. And I don't care what anybody says. This movie looks great.
It looks like War Dogs.
But good War Dogs. Did you see War Dogs?
Yeah, but no, I didn't.
That kind of proves my point too.
I mean, come on, man.
But Tom Cruise sells the tickets, bro.
Tom Cruise is a person that I usually go, oh, that's got Tom Cruise in it. I'll go see it. So I'm gonna go see it, but I we'll see. I don't know.
This movie looks great.
Okay.
There's no dark universe it's setting up. It's just one story, then he moves on. Here's my thing.
Don't know. Maybe this is the start of the dark universe. Maybe he gets on this plane, gets high on coke, ends up finding a mummy somewhere, and then it picks up right with where the mummy begins, and yeah,
it's the prequel to the
mess. It is a prequel.
Here's the thing. I read a very interesting article. I have to find it to link it in the show notes, but it says Tom Cruise needs to stop playing the good guy and needs to start playing bad guys. And I'm kind of down with that. And him straddling the morally gray is a step in that direction. I'm hoping movies like that can kind of push him over. So one day we just get Tom Cruise the villain, which I think would be great because he's menacing. I mean, even his bit in Tropic Thunder when he plays like the antagonist is really good.
I think. What do I think? I love Tom Cruise. I love seeing him be, the superstar action Ethan Hunt hero. He does a lot of morally gray stuff. The Jack Reacher stuff is pretty kind of morally gray.
No, but at the end of the day, he's
the good guy. I get it. I think it'd be really cool to see him be a villain. I absolutely agree with you.
You agree with the person who said that thought. I'm just echoing there.
I agree with the person that you read who said that, whoever you may be.
Sorry,
if you care, I agree.
What are you going to see American Made, though?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not in the theater.
So
this is not something I'm going to rush out to the theater to see.
So of this list, right, what is the one that excites you the most?
American Assassin excites me the most, but I don't think I would rush out to the theater to see any of these movies. These are all things I can wait for video on demand or Blu-ray.
I'm going to watch this Unabomber thing on Discovery Channel immediately.
Go for it.
I can't wait. I think that's amazing. And I think in August when American Made comes out, those are the two that excited me the most. All right, so now that we're done talking about the trailers, I want to talk a little bit about E3 that just happened. It's a big gaming conference that happens every year. It's actually open to the public, as we talked about, so it was a really cool experience for some people who got to go. But Brian, I would love to get your tech perspective on what happened here at E3. So listen, there's so much that happened. I mean, we could spend like an hour and a half.
We can. I really don't want to.
No.
I just want to spend. I just want to talk about the things that kind of jumped out at me.
Yeah,
and they're.
Walk me through, because I fell out of the gaming world for a while because I have a kid. So my gaming experience is really limited. So I'd like to kind of know what's going on and what's happening. Can you give me a little rundown from all the major players?
I could tell you, the reason I'm struggling is that I was not impressed with E3 this year. I'm really sorry. There was a couple things that was really cool, but overall, I was not overly enthused by the majority of it.
So here's what I got from Microsoft. Microsoft unveiled the Project Scorpio, which was the next Xbox thing, and they unveiled it and they called it the Xbox One X. Which stop, whoever is in charge of marketing for that, I'm so sorry. Pack your knives and go. Get out of here. What are you doing?
Did you make a Top Chef?
Yeah, I did.
Reference?
I made a Top Chef reference. Let that happen.
Is it sad that you did that, or that I knew what it was?
Both. It's going to be coming out in November. And listen, here's the thing. It's what, $4.99? Right? It's like $500.
Yeah, it's $500.
Okay, so here's my thought on this.
It's a lot of money.
It's more expensive than the PlayStation 4, right? It is a 4K, super actual 4K Xbox thing. They're taking a dig at Sony for that. Here's my honest take on this. Microsoft is not really doing well on the Xbox. They're getting their ass kicked by Sony and PlayStation. That I think they can afford to make this box $100 more because the people who will buy it makes them a little more money. And Xbox and Microsoft as a whole, I mean, they could just use a couple extra bucks, but they're not drowning. So I mean, it's not going to really kill the whole business if they don't have it.
They'll get the diehard Xbox fans to buy it, and that's it. I don't see what their end game is.
And the only other thing that they really did of significance was they did this Sea of Thieves pirate themed MMO. They did Forza 7. Forza's the biggest driving game.
They did the Forza 7. I'm quiet because I'm trying to find the name of this game. The only thing that actually interested me
is it the Metro Exodus? Anthem. Yep, Anthem.
It was Anthem. Anthem was the only thing in Xbox's conference this year that was that's really cool. If you watch the gameplay trailer, what is Anthem? What the heck is it? Well, I mean, I really couldn't gather a ton from the trailer or anything, but I could tell you that it's another sci-fi shooter, third person, but it's really cool in the fact that it seems like more of a co-op game. and you're like in these. The only way I can describe it is like Iron Man-esque suits that you kind of fly around and go through, and it's seen that you've got like the guy who kind of just his sole purpose is to kind of fly in, do some very like really quick precision killing, and then fly out, right? And then you got this guy who's like the Bruiser, who does a lot of rockets and explosions and things like that. But it looks gorgeous. It looks really great.
And this was done by the same group of people who did the original Mass Effects, right? All 3 Mass Effects.
Yes.
So,
and I'm drawing a
not
blank
the
on
Andromeda
name of the
ones,
company.
because that one sucks. But
I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Yeah, but the original 3 Mass Effects. So that's a good team going behind it. And here's honestly the thing. I have an Xbox One. I got the Day 1 edition. I regret it. Wholeheartedly, I do.
I know.
I really do. And we'll talk about why in just a few minutes. Microsoft is just saying, hey, we're here for 4K gaming. If you're a 4K gamer, if you're a huge Xbox guy, we already have you. You're not leaving. Here's a few things to make you happy. We're going to do more cross compatibility, but Sony, you're not going to do it. So
they can't seem to tell people why their 4K is $100 better than Sony's 4K.
I agree. Again,
that's my problem. It's just like it's 4K-er. Like there's no
now with extra 4K.
Why this is $500 is not worth that money.
Yeah,
especially if you can't tell me why it's worth that money. So no thank you.
But at the end of the day, Microsoft doesn't need to do that. So whatever, they're Microsoft. They'll live. Let's talk about Nintendo because they had a lot.
Talk about Nintendo.
They had a lot to talk about. A lot of
Nintendo's conference. Nintendo's conference pretty much confirmed every reason I bought my Switch, and I'm excited.
What are the 3 biggest takeaways from the Nintendo conference?
You want me to limit it to 3 because that's going to be rough.
I do. Give me 3 reasons why the Nintendo conference mattered.
Well, let's first start with the fact that Super Mario Odyssey. We got an awesome gameplay trailer. It comes out in August, and it just looks fun. Dude, it's Mario.
Someone else said it's like GTA meets Mario, where instead of killing people, you throw their hat at them and you take them over, and like you got to make them do their bidding.
It seems like they're going into this like reality warping, like dimension hopping thing. I don't know. I just know it's Mario. I know I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. And I know it comes out soon. Here's the thing that Nintendo did that neither Xbox or Sony could do this year. And it was, hey, here are our games. And they're going to be out within the next few months and into next year. So, I mean, I'm excited for that. They announced a legitimate Pokemon game for the Switch, not a Pokken Tournament, not a Pokemon Snap. Like this is supposed to be like a legitimate RPG Pokemon game that you would normally play on like a handheld console. So that's exciting as well. And I would say my third biggest excitement from Nintendo's conference is the fact that we're getting a Metroid. We're getting 2 Metroid games. We're getting a 2D one for the 3DS, and we're getting a Metroid 4 on the Switch. And the thing about Metroid is I love the concept, I love the character, but the execution has been piss poor for a long time. I think the last really good Metroid game was on GameCube. So I'm excited to see this happen. I'm hoping it's really good.
And again, it's the same thing you just said. It's confirmation to everyone who got the Switch, right, that you made a good choice with this. Nintendo does the thing they always do with, hey, here's something really cute, here's something really weird, and I hope you're happy with it. Everything will be great. So again, just Nintendo being Nintendo, and they can burn money till the end of time, and they'll never die.
I mean, before we get into Sony, because I want to end Sony on a particular thing. We got some random other games out of EA and Bethesda and things like that too. I mean, we saw a trailer for The Evil Within 2, which is a psychological horror game, kind of like Resident Evil meets Silent Hill for anybody who is interested in those games at all. I'm a huge horror game fan, believe it or not. I'm not a fan of horror movies, but for some reason I was just about to say, games. You're not- if they're done right, they're really good if they're done right. And you know, Resident Evil gets it. You know, Fatal Frame gets it. I think Evil Within is going to be great. So I'm excited for that. And I would be remiss, even though I'm never going to play them, if I didn't mention the fact that we got a new Battlefront, not Battlefront. We did get Battlefront, but I'll talk about that in a second. Call of Duty World War II.
Yeah, this looks great. This is like
that.
going back to some of the roots of what made Call of Duty and all these games
and
really
that's
popular.
the only thing that makes me excited.
Yeah, stop putting it in space and give me weapons that'll never happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sick of the modern warfare, the future warfare crap. Like the games the Call of Duty that I grew up playing was the World War II stuff. So it's really cool to see them go back to that. But we got the Star Wars Battlefront legitimate multiplayer trailer. You got to see like you can fight with droids now, which is pretty cool. I'm excited for that. Far Cry 5 was also announced, which
that's got a lot of weird buzz going around.
Not my cup of tea, but it's got a lot of weird buzz because it's got a lot of controversy going on around about it because of the concept of the game being a cultist terrorist group in America that you're taking out. And regardless of the feathers it has ruffled, it looks like a pretty legit game. I don't think I'm going to play it, but it looks like I definitely understand the person who does want to play it.
The other thing I saw too that had, again, same ruffling of feathers, but by the way, the feathers who this ruffled are assholes, was Wolfenstein 2. It looks a little bit like Fallout with like a really cool premise of like a Man in the High Tower together. It looks like a really interesting game. It's by Bethesda, so you had me at Bethesda. That's something that I was like, I may pick this up and play this.
Yeah, Wolfenstein definitely looks interesting. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, with how many games are coming out, it's really gotten to the point for me where I have to pick and choose pretty extensively. So we'll see. That might be something I put on the back burner.
So let's move on to something that's the obvious thing that you're going to pick up, right? Because you said there's so many games coming out. There's one thing that we have to talk about, and then the rest of it we'll talk about with Sony. But this Sony exclusive Spider-Man game, which is right now just titled Spider-Man PS4, looks beyond amazing. I don't have words to describe it.
I think my exact reaction was I sent you the trailer and I said, stop what you're doing and watch this right now.
Yeah. And let me preface this with something, because we had a small powwow before we recorded our episode with Josh before he left, and Josh goes, that looked good. I'll never play it because the mechanics of it require that you are Spider-Man. And it's just way too complicated for him. But everything about this game just screams Spider-Man fanboys made this game. They are going to play this game. It was made outside of the Marvel cinematic universe, and it's just about actual Spider-Man, and you are going to love this game.
It is everything that you loved about the Arkham series, married with everything you love about every other Spider-Man game.
That is a great way to phrase that.
I know.
It's
great.
Wonderful bastard. And
I am a wordsmith.
When I talked about my picking the Xbox One originally and how I'm going to regret that, I regret it because of this game now. And it's made me want to go out and buy a PlayStation. Like I have to get a PlayStation to play this game.
If you didn't have like 16,000 other reasons to want a PlayStation.
Again,
before.
Remember, I'm not a big gamer. Like, so the Xbox worked for me. I got to play the major games. I got to play with my brothers when we were playing online. But man, I need a PlayStation for this. Even if it's just for one game, I'm buying a whole console to play one game. Is this Spider-Man?
It's worth
it. Looks fantastic.
It is absolutely worth it. It looks awesome. It's gorgeous. The entire 10 minutes is actual gameplay footage, and it looks amazing. And it seamlessly transitions from movie to gameplay from just a one floor level based system into open world where you're chasing this helicopter down as it's destroying half the city. And it looks awesome and breathtaking. The only thing I really don't know enough about, and I really hope they get right, is everything gameplay-wise looks there. You've got the stealth that has been missing from nearly every Spider-Man game, where you can really silently move in, take out a couple thugs, and, you can take them out silently and from the rafters, or you can jump in and use your spider sense and just do all these crazy counters.
I don't know if you can notice, guys, Brian's geeking out real hard about this.
And and you made me lose my train of thought. It goes beautifully into some awesome quick time events, into this open world environment. The only thing that I don't know enough about that I hope they get right is the story. It's got to be a strong, compelling story.
The fact, so here's the thing. They showed this off 2 years ago. They talked about this game. And they kind of made it known that they're not going to release this game until it's ready. The people involved behind it love Spider-Man. They are getting help with Marvel. Marvel's actually pitching in on this. Again, it's not connected to the movies. It's not Tom Holland doing the voice. It's its own separate thing, but Marvel's pitching in. Brian, I don't think you have anything to worry about. This is going to be one of the best comic book video games ever. I'm going to go on a limb that far.
It looks like it. I really hope so. And I'm super excited. And I was smart 3 years ago and I bought a PlayStation 4, so I have one.
So if you want to hear more about the gaming conferences, we can definitely cover that in another episode. I think that's enough for this week. There's so much more. So if there's something that you want us to talk about that we didn't cover, you can always email us at podcast@thatkindofnerd.com or hit us up on Twitter and Facebook. Just search That Kind of Nerd. I do want to cover one little other part that was about Spider-Man, and that is a really cool chatty toy from Sphero. You may know them as the company that made that BB-8 droid that you could move around, and I think you could use like the Force, quote unquote, to like control
You can
it.
actually. They also did an update where it'll watch Force Awakens with you and kind of react to what's happening on the screen and everything. It's pretty cool.
They released a chatty Spider-Man toy that is. Listen, the way they're phrasing this is kind of like how you can talk to like a Siri or an Echo and have like little banter with it. It's basically that. This was really cool. It tells a lot of corny jokes. It can have a lot of conversations. It seems to be a little hit and miss when you talk to it though. But it looks great. What did you think about this toy? Because when you sent it to me, I was like, I must have this thing now.
I was as well. I must have this thing. I actually showed it to the 3 coworkers. I'm like, you better prepare. It's going to be on my desk. Like I know it's geared towards children. I get that, but I'm going to get one just because A, it's Spider-Man. B, it just looks fun. It looks like just a cute little toy. There's some also, I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be able to hold a conversation with you for the most part. And clearly when you do, voice recognition and things like that, there are some flaws. So I'm not expecting it to be perfect. What I am expecting it to be is just some fun, cute little thing that I can say, hey, tell me a joke, and it'll tell me some terrible joke.
It's a Peter Parker joke. That is like quintessential.
It is a quintessential Peter Parker joke. It is, and it'll tell you stories. I saw another trailer, which I don't think I saw with you. I don't think I showed it to you. Somebody hits the button and they go, hey, let's fight bad guys. And he's like, all right, there's a bank robbery happening down at Midtown Bank right now. Let's go. And you hear like this like fighting music and stuff. And he goes, hey, we're here to make a withdrawal of felons. And like, come on, like it seems like fun. You could say to you hit the chest emblem and go, hey, guard my room. And he's like, hey, I got it. And like then the next scene they show is like their pet iguana like kind of going up again. He's like, there's an intruder here. And like it seems like fun. But there's some other like app capability.
Yeah, so
your iOS or Android.
You can get an
device.
iOS and Android app, and it can kind of help with other interactions with your voice. And the other thing too that they say, it's hey, privacy. We're not going to like listen to you the whole time. It's only when
not recording the whole time.
Yeah,
it's only listening to you when you're using the app or you hit the button. It's just fun, and it's retail for $149.99.
It's coming out. I probably by the time you listen to this, probably like right now. I don't think we got a solid release date. They say that it has over.
The thing I read was 2 weeks before the movie, so probably it would be like right now.
It says that it has over 100 comic books worth of content hidden with tons of Easter eggs. So if you're a huge Spider-Man fan or have someone in your life that this would be great for, go check it out. As Brian said, it is $149.99, but damn, it's worth every penny. This thing looks awesome, and I want more of these. I want a Batman one. I want them all. Just go bananas and give me everything. I also found, so as you guys know, I also like to go around the internet, just find some of the weird things that are going on, and I like to get Brian's feedback, and I like to get his tech perspective on what's going on. That is, no, not the theme. Even when Josh isn't here, it's not the theme. So a free library is popping up in Detroit and other cities that is shaped like the TARDIS. So you can come in, it opens up, it's full of books. You can go ahead and kind of pick and choose what's going on. So it's spreading the love of Doctor Who. It's spreading the love of reading throughout the people of the great state of Michigan. This was pretty cool because it's a free library. I mean, when you saw this, what did you think about it?
I was just curious if it was bigger on the inside.
You asshole. You went for the easy joke.
Of course I went for the easy joke. That's what I do. I am the Peter Parker of this podcast.
So here's my question to you, Ryan. Obviously, while we love books, right?
I don't read.
Right, we're not big readers. So
does it have any books that has Batman in it?
I don't know.
Then I won't be.
If this could come up and have something completely different inside of it, what do you wish your mysterious TARDIS would be filled with?
I need to ask some follow-up questions. Is it in fact bigger on the inside, or is it just the square footage of that police box?
You could. It is bigger, but not.
Can
big
it
enough.
be like the entrance to a speakeasy where like I go in and like it's like a giant building afterwards?
Well, okay, so you would do like a pop-up speakeasy?
I would do something like that, or like a arcade.
I was just about to say, for me, it would be yeah. Okay, so let's go to this. So here are the rules. I'll give you a little bit of it. It's like half TARDIS capacity, so it is indeed bigger on the inside, but it's not bigger than a like a basement.
Okay, so if I could do this, I would have it open up into our dream. What?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would have it open up into our dream scenario where that kind of nerd has opened a restaurant / bar / arcade, and that's what would be in there.
It would be the barcade, but in TARDIS form, it pops up in different cities and it kind of goes on tour.
Yeah, sure. Why the heck not?
You, by the way, are a son of a bitch because it's exactly what I would kind of hope for. I mean, no, that's it. I can't even think of anything else. I mean, I've been trying to think of a different example of what it could be, but yeah, no, it's definitely something that I know I would make.
I mean, it could also be like a comic book store or like a gaming.
No, it's a barcade. It's the size of a basement. It's exactly right. It's the right answer.
That's what I'm looking for. You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking to walk through that TARDIS and walk into the front of the Foot Clan base from Turtles 1,
right?
With like the skateboard ramp and all the arcade,
like the Airbnb that we saw the other week, and it's just
right.
It's just
and
that.
Like Sam Rockwell gives me cigarettes if I want them. Like that's what I would want.
Oh, that sounds great. That's exactly what I would like. Here's the other thing that I found on the internet: the world's largest privately owned Star Wars collection suffered a bit of a robbery. So
I read about this.
Yeah. So do you have the name of the? Here it is. Steve Sansweet, right? He is a Star Wars author, a collector. He actually worked, I think, at Skywalker Ranch.
He used to work on Skywalker Ranch.
And he has, seriously, guys, literally the world's largest comic. Everything that you could think of Star Wars, it has. Even according to Kevin Smith, they even have some Star Wars adult toys in his collection. The guy's got everything. He invited what he considered a good friend to spend a couple weeks there, living there. And the guy decided to steal a couple action figures, sell them off for over $200,000. This is a huge collection. Very sad that it was robbed, but it had me ask a question. If you could get something from this collection, and he bequeathed it to you in his will, so you're not stealing, he's given it to you, what is one Star Wars themed thing that you would want from this collection?
I don't exactly know what's in the collection.
Imagine anything, because
I'm imagining a life-size Darth Vader, and I want that.
I mean, but you can buy that off you could buy that at a store.
Yeah, but I get it for free this way.
But think of something that you couldn't just buy.
A lock of Harrison Ford's hair.
You could just look at a crashed airplane in a couple of years and probably get that if you really want to.
Okay. A DNA sample of Mark Hamill. Because then I would just clone him. And I would make him do the Joker forever.
It's just imprison him to do the Joker. Here's what I would want. I don't know what's in the collection, so we're gonna just make something up. I would like a life-size TIE fighter, right? A huge TIE fighter, but inside of it is a bed, and that would be like my room. I would get that in a heartbeat.
Okay, all right. I'm sure your wife would be extremely happy with that.
You know why? That's fine, because I don't care. Whatever. I'm totally keeping that thing. It'll be for the kids, right? It's for the kids, Brian, but
But CJ spends most of his time.
It's my fort, right? You can't commit no girls allowed. Nah, not happening. Are you going to stick with your lock of hair from Harrison?
I'm thinking.
Make something ridiculous up. I make it bet it exists. So
I did. I just said I want a lock of a human's hair.
I'm sure, but that's easy. He could be on a mask.
You know what? If he had like any of the original scripts or something like that, I'd be down for that.
All right.
Or like, the original like sheet music for the theme. That'd be awesome. I'd frame that shit.
Would you take the rejected screenplay of a Star Wars movie?
A rejected screenplay?
Yeah, like one that Lucas like, nah, this isn't good enough. Nah, throw that out.
Sure, why not?
Would that be the
It's always cool to see what could have been.
If you're in tune with the nerd culture, you know that we lost an icon last week. Now, we record on a Friday, and unfortunately, Adam West had passed, I believe, the Saturday after we had recorded our episode. So we didn't
actually passed that Friday night.
Oh, did he?
Didn't announce it until Saturday morning.
So we obviously didn't get a chance to talk about it. He obviously left a huge impact on a lot of people. It was a lot of people's introduction to Batman. And he was a really important figure to a lot of people. And I wanted to play a message from Papa Thornton, Brian's dad, who, as we know, is our comic book grandmaster. And he had a farewell to Adam West.
Well, hello, TCon nerds. This is a very grief-filled and saddened Papa Thornton, just calling in to share with you my thoughts on the passing of the late and great Adam West, the 1960s Batman. I have to say I was kind of surprised to hear it. I didn't even know he had been ailing until I read up on it a little bit. Evidently, it happened pretty quickly, and that's sad because right to the end he was active and he was still embracing his character from the 60s. And that's kind of one of the things I really admired about him, is he never ran away from it or complained about it typecasting him or any of the things that the stars from the 60s TV shows tend to do. He was always gracious and very tongue-in-cheek, had a good humor about it. And I'll tell you, when it came out in the 60s, I was but a wee lad and enjoyed watching it thoroughly because as a kid, it was the first time you had a live-action Batman on the screen, and it was so vibrant, so colorful. The characters were so filled with life and charismatic. It was just so much fun to watch every Tuesday and Wednesday night from week to week, and I couldn't wait for the next show. And I remember seeing the premiere episodes, which are obviously the first two that are on the DVD set, and just sitting there with glee as you and my son would say, I squeed as a kid, just watching the Riddler try to get the best of the Cape Crusader. So it's sad. It's a sad day. It marks the passing of a somewhat of an era. And all I can say is rest in peace, bright night. You will be missed. See you guys. Bye.
I remember I did indeed actually grow up with this show. By that time, it was on reruns on TV Land, I think it was. But when I was watching it, like we had the Batman movie with Michael Keaton come out, at least one of them. The animated series came out in 93, and that was starting to kick up. And it was very, a much darker tone. And still, it speaks volumes that show was able to stand the test of time and still hold interest in people who had grown up with a much different Batman. That show was very comical and very accessible to people of all ages. And it was just a lot of fun, highly enjoyable, and that I got to meet him very briefly. I think it was actually my first Comic-Con. I remember vividly being with my brother at the Philadelphia Comic-Con, and he was there, and Julie Newmar was there.
Oh, wow.
Who played the Catwoman on the show.
Yeah.
And I was I was maybe 13, and I was very, very much like, you can't talk to them. They're famous. Like, I didn't want to go up to him, and my brother was very adamant. He's like, dude, just let's go. Let's go say hi to him. Let's go, at least say something to him.
Right.
And at cons, like, you don't get a lot of time with these people. And sometimes, especially lately, like, unless you're in line waiting to buy a print or to get something autographed, like, you don't get up to that table there. And we were very fortunate enough to be able to walk straight up to Adam West. He didn't have anybody waiting. And my brother, said, hey, I think you're amazing. Huge fan of your work on Batman. And he was very, very gracious, like much like my father said. He was like, oh, thank you, son. Like all that other stuff. And we kind of squeed, and first off, I think it's awesome that my dad just said squee.
Yeah, I know.
And we just kind of walked away. But like, you watching this guy, and he's still like, it was so funny. I remember talking to my brother. He's still putting the moves on Julie Newmar. He's still like kind of guiding her around the table and pulling out her chair for her and everything. This guy was like just so charismatic and so, just he truly enjoyed being there. Like you can actually go to these cons, and some of these people, you just know they don't want to be there. They're just kind of doing it. And they're not even doing it to collect a paycheck at this point. A lot of them are doing it just to kind of, further their name sometimes.
Right, just to do something.
And he was very, very cool about the entire experience. It was very, very nice to kind of have that experience. And when I heard he passed, it's definitely a shame. I was very, it was unexpected. And just like my dad said, because you would never know that anything was wrong. Just the guy was still doing appearances. He was still doing work. He's just done. He was on an episode of Big Bang Theory for the 50th anniversary of the Batman television series. He had just recorded the audio for Batman: Return of the Caped Crusader, that animated movie, which encapsulated everything that show was. He was, doing Family Guy too. He honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Family Guy, but he is one of the shining things of Family Guy. He is always enjoyable, always funny, and always kind of making fun of himself almost.
Yeah, he
would kind of be a caricature of himself sometimes.
We talk all the time about how the nerd community is a really welcoming community. How we don't try to pigeonhole people. We don't really try to make people feel bad for not loving the same things that we love, but rather taking that passion and spreading it around the world. And from the stories that you hear and the anecdotes that you hear, that's what Adam West did, right? He embraced the fact that, yeah, man, I was on the silly version of Batman, right? And honestly, I brought, that brought comic book characters to the television screen, which brought them to the movie screen, which brought them to where we are now. And he knew that was his place, but he wasn't just going to stay in there. He was just going to let everyone else's passion fuel him, and he's going to spread that around. He seemed like a really awfully nice guy. I'm sorry I missed a chance to get to meet him. He was at Steel City Con the year that we went, just not that day. And a lot of people just are thankful for the fact that it opened the door to the nerdy community that we kind of have now, and how acceptable it is. So he was a really cool guy, a very big loss within the comic book world. But however, he left behind a great body of work. It's definitely always going to be remembered. And I'm really curious to see who else he inspired and the work that's going to come out of it. So our thoughts go out to the West family, and he will be missed. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your nerdy news for the week. I do have a couple of announcements. We're now doing 15% off all of our t-shirts on shop.thatkindofnerd.com until the 21st. So you have a limited time to go ahead and get a good discount on that, help cover those shipping costs. You can use the promo code TS0617. Now, there's no way you're going to remember that, so I included it in the show notes. So just go ahead and click that on your podcast player, or go to thatkindofnerd.com for more details. Also, again, this episode is brought to you by our patrons on Patreon. It's patreon.com/thatkindofnerd. We again recognize this month's sponsor, Brian Roman, who is our executive producer. I will call him, for this month. So thank you for all your support. And be like Brian, get access early to these shows, get access to our topic list early, and get details on the show before it's available to anybody else. We are only supported by you guys. So no corporate sponsorships. It's just by you. So please come support our show. I want to thank you so much for making us your walk around your neighborhood or your drive to work. I am CJ Mellon, this week joined by Brian Thornton. Thanks for listening.
If you love comics and sci-fi and technology, television, video games, and fantasy, well, take a listen to our show. I'm sure you'll see there's many points where we can agree. Like the Martha as a plot point was just too absurd, and Apple versus Android is a case to be heard, and like Josh thinks new Fantastic Four was a turd. Well, welcome to the club, cause you are that kind of nerd.
This is clearly not saying the show.
Is it? I'm editing this week. I don't need to know I don't need to know how the hot dog is made. I was just curious.
By the way, have you ever seen a hot dog being made? I did that the other week. Don't do that.
No, I don't, because I'm not stupid.
Highly recommend not doing it. All right, cool. Let's talk about these trailers.
Terrible idea. What is wrong with you? Why would you put yourself through that?
I didn't mean to. I did it by accident.
How do you accidentally see a hot dog?
I was watching. I was flipping through the stations on Sling.
So I was watching the trailer for Sausage Party, and it said, "Listen, if you like the trailer for Sausage Party, you're gonna love to see how that sausage is made." You know you're gonna name the episode that, so I don't understand why we're arguing.
Touche.
The whole hot dog conversation's a stinger too, FYI. That's what's happening.
Listen, I'm not even thinking about the editing process.
I'm editing the show this week. Anything can happen.
Anything goes.
It's a mystery box of podcasts.